experience. I see you're on your feet and ready to welcome your souls. You are welcome here in the right place at the right time. Let's sing about them.
That's right. Happy New Year to you. I haven't seen you since last year. So happy to see you. We're talking about the gifts of Martin Luther King Jr. today.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. And I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Your soul is welcome. All souls are welcome. Yeah. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time, right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. And I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
I'm getting the message.
And I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. And my soul is welcome here. And my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. And my soul is welcome here. And my soul is welcome here. Yeah, my soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Well, good morning once again, Reverend Deborah. Our souls are welcome here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Sunday experience.
Well, welcome back, Reverend James, and Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to everyone. We greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that is sacred, and all that is holy. And in the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in temples, mosques, churches, and of course, the beautiful temples of nature, because we know that there is no space that God does not grace. And if you're with us for the very first time today, whether you're watching us online or here in person, we especially want to welcome you, because we know that you are not here by accident. We know that every single one of us is here by
Divine appointment.
And we're always so excited when we get together. And of course, we're very excited when you silence your electronic devices. And yes, very excited. And please refrain from flash photography during the service.
Okay, we have a very low excitement threshold here, which is okay. Well, let's take a moment and keep our appointment with the Spirit of the living God. We know that this presence may not come when we want it, but it's always on time. We recognize that when we have that appointment, when we keep that appointment, it means that healings begin to take place. Upliftment begins to take place. Transformation begins to take place. And all that is good and perfect begins to reveal itself in our life and in our world. Our job is simply to raise our awareness to be one with the one presence, the one power, the one reality that governs our lives and the very universe in which we live. And we can never go wrong when we're in tune with this presence. It will guide us, direct us, uplift us. And we're grateful that we and this presence and all of us are one. So as we go forth today and each day of our lives, we can rest assured that we can lean on this presence in times of challenge or trouble. Because this presence doesn't know anything about those things. It only knows divine and perfect spiritual solutions. And when we become one with the solutions, the seeming problems dissolve into the nothingness from which they have come. So we're here to remember the truth. We're here to remember the peace and the joy and the wisdom that is always there and never can leave us or forsake us. And for this and so much more, we're grateful and thankful as we go forth being those vessels and expressions of the presence of God. And we say so in the name and the nature of this spiritual essence. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Well, we have a very important purpose here at Spiritual Life Center that's reflected in our mission statement. And I invite you to join in as we affirm it together. To transform lives, to make a positive difference in the world, as we love, serve, and remember. Excuse me. And we carry out that mission as we embody and make part of our own awareness and consciousness these 5 universal principles. Again, let's speak them aloud together. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God, and we must take action. And of course, we want to acknowledge anyone who's born in the month of January. We're going to stand and we're going to sing happy birthday to you. Any January babies?
Nobody?
Stand up.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya.
And many more.
Wednesday. Okay, so we have a class going on right now, and so there's not an actual Wow Wednesday program for the next few weeks. However, we will still be having the community meal at 6, and you're welcome to come to that. And the people who are in the class can toddle off to class, and I'm willing to sit and have a spiritual discussion with all you for a while, or we can just sit and chat. So 6 o'clock, community meal. See you there.
Well, just a reminder that tomorrow we acknowledge Martin Luther King Day, and we're going to have the March for the Dream that we participate in every year, and we're inviting you to be part of that. We're going to have a couple of meeting places. Now, all the information about our group is on the hub table. They have a handout, but we're going to meet tomorrow, and we're going to start at the college, and they changed the route this year. They used to, from Sac City Community College, and they had a long distance, and you had to take a bus back. Now they're having a shorter route that we start and begin at the same place. So that works. Anyway, the details are at the hub as well as online. And when we get there tomorrow, we're going to meet in front of the bookstore that we usually do. And if anybody wants to help, carry the banners and things like that, we invite you to be part of that. So we'll organize ourselves once we show up tomorrow. And the march starts at 9:30, but we'll probably be there around 9 o'clock.
And then also there's another place to meet if you can't do the entire walk. There's another place a little in the middle, and all of those instructions are on the sheet at the hub. So we look forward to seeing you all there. So at the end of last year, I don't remember if it was November, December, Monty Richardson made his transition, and his family had a private service for him. They didn't do anything with us. So next week, now see where it says February? Just erase that in your mind. It means it's January, next week. 5 of us looked at it and all just went, uh-huh. Okay, so anyway, next Sunday At 12:45, after the 11 o'clock service, Reverend James is going to offer a short little service for Monty. The SLC Music Ministry is going to offer a couple of songs. Monty was on the board. He had a small group. He was in the choir. I mean, he just did a lot at SLC, so we want to honor him in a short, informal service. So we'll see you at 12:45.
And as we do each month, we have a report from our Board of Trustees, and Deborah Moskowitz, who is our board treasurer. I keep saying treasurer. Our board secretary is going to give an update from our Board of Trustees.
Hello, my name is Deborah Moskowitz, and I'm the secretary of the SLC board. As a member of the board, I attended the strategic planning meeting that we had on Thursday, January 11th. We discussed goals for the year and discerned what was the most important moving forward. It was a very productive meeting. We also wanted to let you know that the heart-to-heart interviews are collated, and we will be sending out a complete report about them. Expect that soon. So we're looking forward to this new year, which includes our joint staff and board meeting coming up next Thursday. We're having a lot of meetings right in the beginning of the year. Since it's the beginning of the new year, it's time to renew your membership. We ask that you go onto the website to renew or see a member of the hub who can help you in the process. We need to get a good count of governing members, so please renew your membership. Let's have a great year.
Thank you, Deborah.
And remember, we always remind you every week that there are many activities that foster transformation in our lives here at Spiritual Life Center. So be sure to check out our small groups and other offerings. You can peruse the bulletin board in the courtyard, or you can go and chat with people at the hub. And of course, anything you could possibly want to know about SLC is on our website.
Well, one of the reasons that folks come to Spiritual Life Center, among others, is to make connections with others, like-minded people, and just to get that connection going. And you don't have to wait until we have a special event such as a march or a class or a workshop or eating gathering. You can connect with someone right here, right now. So I invite you to connect with someone that you know or don't know and just say, you are marvelous, glad you are here. Just do so in a manner that feels comfortable for you when you want to make that connection.
We invite you to stay standing, take all that good energy from one another, and sing with us our group song, More of Who We Are. It's okay if you want to move a little, that's all right with me. Join us.
I will meet you with my heart, heart to heart. Let us meet again, and then may we become more of who we are, more of who we are.
I will touch you with my soul.
I will touch you with my soul,
Soul to soul.
soul to soul. Let us touch.
As we settle into our seats, let's take a nice deep breath together. We're going to prepare for our meditation by speaking our vision statement together. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
I invite you to take a nice deep breath. May all beings know love. May all beings know peace. May all beings know love. May all beings know peace. No more pain. No more pain. No more pain. Please join us. May all beings know love. May all beings know peace. May all beings know love. May all beings know peace. No more pain. No more pain. May all beings know love. May all beings know peace. May all beings know love. May all beings know peace.
May all beings know love. Let's take a deep cleansing breath together. Breathing love. Love in and love out. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. exemplified love and had much to say on the topic. A rare note handwritten by Dr. King says this: love is the greatest force in the universe. It is the heartbeat of the cosmos. He who loves is a participant in the being of God. Breathe that in. Love is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos. Allow yourself to get comfortable. Close your eyes, and as your eyes close, feel yourself getting closer to love as you meet your internal world. If you are willing, place one or both hands on your heart. As you breathe, feel your chest rise and fall. Breathing in, aware that you are breathing in. Breathing out, aware that you are breathing out. Breath in, breath out. Rising and falling. Imagine the heart is breathing. This gentle act of turning toward the heart is as if we are climbing down a ladder from the mind to the heart. As you continue breathing, sense that you can feel your heartbeat. Feel it beat. As it beats, it softens with every breath. Breathing in, aware of the in-breath. Breathing out, aware of the out-breath. Say to yourself, if you will, I am here in my body and I am home. I am here in my body and I am home. Slow your breathing. Your heartbeat connected to the cosmos. All part of the collective heartbeat. Connected to all beings. All participants in the being of God in the silence. Slowly return your awareness to your body. When you are ready, begin to open your eyes, but I ask that you open them only partially. Still connected with that heartbeat, tapped into the power of love. Now I invite you to tap into your power of imagination. Imagine yourself listening to a sermon by Dr. Martin Luther King. As you love and imagine, I humbly offer you an excerpt from his sermon entitled, Love Your Enemies. It reads something like this. Now, there is a final reason I think that Jesus says, love your enemies. It is this, that love has within it a redemptive power. And there is a power there that eventually transforms individuals. Just keep being friendly to that person. Just keep loving them. And they can't stand it too long. Oh, they react in many ways in the beginning. They react with guilt feelings, and sometimes they'll hate you a little more at the transition period. But just keep loving them. And by the power of your love, they will break down under the load. That's love, you see. That's love. It is redemptive. And this is why Jesus says love. There's something about love that builds up and is creative. So love your enemies. Love everybody. May it be so.
Oh, let us turn our thoughts today to Martin Luther King and recognize that there are ties between us, all men and women living on the earth, ties of hope and love, of sister and brotherhood, that we are bound together in our desire to see the world become a place in which our children can grow free and strong. We are bound together by the task that stands before us and the road that lies ahead. We are bound and we are bound. There is a feeling like the clenching of a fist. There is a hunger in the center of the chest. There is a passage through the darkness and the mist. And though the body sleeps, the heart will never rest. Shed a little light, oh Lord, a little light, oh Lord, so that we can see, oh yeah, just a little light, oh Lord, just a little light, oh Lord. Wanna stand it on up, stand it on up, stand it on up, oh Lord, stand on up, Lord. Wanna walk it on down, gonna shed a little light, oh Lord. Can't get no light from no dollar bill. Don't see no light from no dollar bill. Don't see me no light from a TV screen. Oh no, no. When I open my eyes, I wanna drink my fill from the well on the hill. I know you know what I mean. Shed a little light, oh Lord. Shed a little light, oh Lord, so that we can see, oh yeah, just a little light, oh Lord, just a little light, oh Lord. Wanna stand it on up, stand it on up, stand it on up, oh, stand on up, Lord. Wanna walk it on down, gonna shed a little light, oh Lord, shed a little light, oh. There is a feeling like the clenching of a fist. There is a hunger in the center of the chest. There is a passage through the darkness and the mist. And though the body sleeps, the heart will never rest. Oh, let us turn our thoughts today to Martin Luther King and recognize that there are ties between us, all men and women living on the earth, ties of hope and love, of sister and brotherhood.
Ann and Larice shining their light in a big, big way. Thank you so much for your presence, as always. It was an early Thursday evening. And I was hanging around with some friends and classmates, and we were at our high school. And we were doing something very, very important. We were leaning against the wall. And I was a sophomore at the time, and I was waiting for a ride to take me somewhere after finishing up some activities after school. And then suddenly, out of the blue, a classmate came seemingly out of nowhere. And he friendly ran up and said, "They killed him." And I wondered, who is they talking about? One of our other classmates? No, he said somebody killed Martin Luther King. Of course, at that time, I didn't fully grasp what that meant. But I realized that for many of us during that time, our sense of innocence, our sense of hope, sense of faith took a blow. Even though I had little appreciation of the power of his philosophy of nonviolence or the spiritual perspective until I began to study closely more so after his death. It's interesting, I realized that I guess I've been around for a little while now because I was speaking to one of our youths earlier after the service. Some of you all remember that, my cousin Vinny, youths. Some of you are not moviegoers like me, but that's okay. He said, what was it like back then? And I was realized that a lot of people were not around during that era. A lot was going on. And I realized like myself and a number of my young and impatient friends and classmates thought that King's philosophy was impractical, it was foolish. Until I found his roots were in the work of Mahatma Gandhi and the philosophy of David Thoreau. And over the course of his life, several gifts were given to us by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Here is a man, I think, early in his life knew his mission. He was only 26 years old when he was selected to lead the Montgomery bus boycott to challenge the segregated bus system at that time. And it kind of reminded me of a quote that says, "It's never too late to be what you might have been, and it's never too young to meet your mission." Now, the first part of the quote is from George Eliot. The second part of the quote is from me. But I think going together, they sound pretty good. But King was awake to his purpose at a young age, and today we might say he was woke. Now, in recent times, the word has been co-opted by people. Co-opted by people who seek to disparage the term as something negative rather than a word that seeks to bring forth a better society, a better world. I always wonder why, we need to have a little bit more history. I don't get disturbed a lot, but I was disturbing about how they try to remove more and more books from schools rather than bring more and more. Nobody ever got hurt from reading. But a little history, of course, is in order. Some people may think that this word was recently invented. But the term woke was first shown up in the lyrics in 1938 in a song by the blues singer Leadbelly. And it was a song about the Scottsboro Boys and 9 African-American teenagers convicted of a crime they did not commit. And they were sentenced to death. And the song warned of the pitfalls of the justice system, or at that time what he called the injustice system, included with the words, "Best stay woke," meaning be aware, be awake, be vigilant of what's happening around you and in the world. When the people observed the Buddha and they saw there was something different about him, that he kind of stood out from the rest of the crowd, they asked him, "Well, what are you, a man?" He said, "No." "So what are you?" They were perplexed about how he showed up in the world, and the Buddha simply replied, "I am awake." And Jesus in Mark 13, chapter 37, verse says, to have said, "Stay awake." So King was awake from this awakened consciousness, this so-called woke consciousness. He emerged a number of gifts that we can apply in our own life and in our world today. So I want to share 5 of those gifts. He had a whole lot more, but we only have so much time. He did a lot in his lifetime. As I think about it, he was, when he transitioned, he was only 39 years old. And I realized that in 39, I was still trying to figure out, where the bathrooms are. But he gave us a number of gifts. I think the first gift is this realization: every crisis presents an opportunity for some greater good to be expressed. I was speaking to a young man, a friend of my son's, and he was feeling a sense of despair because of the divisiveness and he's been seeing in his community and other places across the America, and what's happening in Gaza, the politics, and he was quite distressed. He had a lot of anxiety, and one of the things I suggested, one of the things you might want to do is just step away from the news. Take a break from the internet and get some perspective. And I also said that, what we want to do when we see the headlines, we want to realize those are nothing more than the world's prayer requests. They're telling us what we need to pray for. And I let him know that I understood where he was coming from, but he was surprised when I suggested that sometimes those upsetting events, those challenges that we see in our world, they can be a good thing. And he said, "What do you mean? I just don't get it. What's wrong with people?" And I said, such incidents can serve as evolutionary triggers to wake us to the true nature as spiritual beings, and to remind us to take whatever action is needed to help us realize we are all part of one spiritual family. So every crisis has both its dangers and its opportunities. Each crisis can save us or it can doom us. The choice, of course, is ours to make. It is our mission, I think, to make the good choice. But we have to choose to accept it. So Dr. King accepted his mission, and he knew it wouldn't be easy. He noted that the arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. And that sometimes the movement toward justice emerges out of so-called tragedies. You may be familiar with the story of Emmett Till. In 1955, he was a 14-year-old resident. He lived in Chicago, and he went down to Mississippi to spend time with his relatives. And while he was there, he was tortured to death. His body was mutilated. His face was disfigured beyond recognition for something he did not do. And at his funeral, his mother, Emmett's mother, wanted to make sure her son did not die in vain and removed the bag that was covering his face because it was so mutilated, it was so disfigured that people didn't want to see it. But she said, remove that. And then the photo of his body was on every major news publication in America and across the world. And of course, this shocked the consciousness. And on top of that, the men who were accused of murder of him were acquitted in just 67 minutes of deliberation. And of course, devastated by what she saw on the television, as well as the acquittal, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat. That sparked that Montgomery boycott back in that time. And it was considered the start of the civil rights movement in the United States that was led by Dr. King. So he turned that crisis into an opportunity for greater good. And we can do the same. We can help bend the arc of the universe toward justice. We can bend the arc of the universe toward healing. We can bend the arc of the universe toward harmony in our own unique ways. But we must be awake to the realization that often starts in that moment of a crisis. Having been in Unity for a long time and talked with a lot of people who often come into a spiritual center such as this, it's often because they're going through their own crisis in life. Maybe they had a divorce. Maybe someone in their family passed away. Maybe they have a diagnosis, an illness. Or maybe they have a failure in their business. Maybe life is just not working for them at all, and somehow they end up on this community to go on a spiritual path. And I believe that's how the universe sometimes works, to get our attention, to realize what's important is to get in tune with our spiritual power. So I think gift number one that he provided us, Dr. King, was every crisis presents an opportunity for a greater good, but we have to look for it. But there's a second gift. And that second gift is we have to paint a picture for a better tomorrow. You know, we know that statement that's in Proverbs that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. I might update that a little bit and say that where there is no vision, the people squabble. A lot of squabbling going on in the world. Indeed, our country, our world, our life sometimes needs a compelling vision. And we ask sometimes, when was the last time that we had a compelling vision? Probably when Ting said, I have a dream, and he began to speak about his dream of possibilities of people working together, being creative together. And we know that a vision is simply something so clear in our mind that we can see it in our imagination. It serves as a roadmap, so to speak, that is vital for a successful life, because without it, we're often directionless. You know, as that adage goes, that if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. We got to know where we're going. So the vision will take us where we want to be, where our heart yearns to be. And seemingly it has magic to it. And the steps will come along that without understanding why or how they come about, a whole Spirit of God grows through us and allows us to grow through our visions and our dreams, regardless of how things look like right now. You know, painting that picture for the future doesn't have to be a compelling vision for, you know, the world or some grandiose level. It can just be for our life, right where we are, because that's where we start. You know, if life's not where we want it, maybe it's health-wise, maybe it's relationship-wise, maybe it's prosperity-wise, maybe we're not harnessing, you know, happiness in our life, whatever reason, know that it does not have the final word. Those are the facts of our life, but they're not the ultimate prognosis that Spirit has for us. You know, this being a practical, you know, movement, you know, I also try to provide a practical tool that one can use. Here's one that I've used in different parts of my life, and if I wanted to move from where I am to where I want to be. And that was to envision my ideal day or my perfect day. Because I realized that life is made up of individual days. And to create an ideal day, you're setting yourself up for the intention to have an ideal life. So how do you set up an ideal day? Well, we often ask questions. We ask questions, ask and you shall receive. So we start with a question. And the question is, if there were no limitations or no consequences, what would my average perfect day be? What would it look like? How could I do something over and over every day and just be happy with that? So when we think of a perfect day, we have, of course, have to be specific. We have to be detailed. We have to be clear, because the universe responds to that kind of clarity. So we ask questions like, what does my perfect health look like? What does my spiritual abundance look like? What do my relationships look like? What makes me happy and joyous and makes me want to dance every day? And we write that vision as if it's happening right now. We feel it in this moment. We read it, we affirm it every day. And what happens, it will begin to override beliefs that have led to the current reality that we may be experiencing. So we want to have that compelling vision for the future. And it will move us and direct us in the direction of that vision. And we have full anticipation of it in this moment. We feel it now. As I like to say, it don't mean a thing unless it has that feeling. We got to feel it. The feeling tone is the most important part of moving from where we are to where we want to be. I mean, I think I was reading something the other day from a Harvard study that said that they had individuals who had visions and goals, and then they had individuals act as if it's happening now, and those who felt it happening now, in this moment, even though the facts were contrary to it, began to manifest them even more than those who didn't have it. So as we think about the power of painting a compelling vision, I'm reminded of a story during the Reconstruction. And there was an uneducated, domestic worker and a child of former slaves. And she had a magnificent vision. Her name was Madam C.J. Walker. And there's a movie on Netflix called Self-Made. That's my flick pick of the week. If you want to check it out, it's a very inspiring story. But anyway, she set out on a mission to move from being that domestic worker to manufacturing her own hair products and distributing those products across the country and across the world. And she became the first self-made woman millionaire in the U.S. But the thing is, she demonstrated the power of capturing and believing in a compelling vision to create a whole new future for herself and for many of the people that worked for her at that time. But it's not really about her. It's always about us and how we can do the same things for our communities and for our world. So the second gift of King was create a compelling vision and vivid picture for a better tomorrow. And then the third gift that I wanted to share was from Dr. King was to act according to your highest values, no matter what. Sometimes I get caught up in watching what's happening out in the political world today. Not a good idea. And I realize that a lot of the politicians, they're strong on confidence, but they're fungible on values. In other words, their values are a little wishy-washy. Mainly, they don't have any other than power. You know, really, it comes down to that. Anyway, during the Civil Rights Movement, many around Dr. King were tempted to resort to violence to advance the cause. And some of them did that, and that was, may not participate, you can see why. But King, like Mahatma Gandhi before him, called upon his followers to adhere to a higher standard. And he reminded his followers that we must not allow our creative protests to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. And he demonstrated how, in the moment of truth, he held fast to his values. And he wasn't going to be moved. There was a time that, if you look at some of his work, he was in a crowd of people. And he was leaving a speech or he was leaving a rally, and and a very well-dressed man, walked up to him, and he came out of the crowd and said, "Are you Dr. Martin Luther King?" And he said, "Well, yes, I am." And that well-dressed man at that moment spit on him. And Dr. King, now at that moment, I think most individuals will say, I'm all okay for kumbaya, but this is one exception. But what he did, he took out his handkerchief and he wiped the hate from his suit. And he handed the handkerchief over to the man and he said to him, "I believe this belongs to you. I believe this belongs to you." In one of his speeches, Dr. King said, "Let no man pull you so low as to hate him." In that moment, that may have been an exception as I am thinking about it, of not holding on to that value that he held about nonviolence. Most probably would have said, I need to break away from this at this moment, at least just this one time. But he didn't do that. He held fast to his value even though he was severely tested. So gift number 3 from King was act according to your highest values. And then there's lesson number 4. Recognize that we are interconnected. He stated that in a real sense, all life is interrelated. All persons are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And he said, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be, and you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. In a small way, I recognize this interconnectedness, and I was on a plane coming back from Florida, visiting my family and my stepmom down there, heading back to Sacramento. I was sitting in the aisle seat, which I always try to get, and then there was a seat between me. Then there was a gentleman who was in the window seat to my left, and he had his phone on. He was looking at a video or listening to some music, but he didn't have his earplugs in, apparently. I had mine on, so I couldn't really hear what was going on. And apparently it was like, permeating through the whole plane. And on the other side of the aisle, sitting in the window seat, was another guy that was trying to get his attention, and he couldn't get his attention. So he balled up a piece of paper, and he threw the paper at the guy. It zipped right under my nose, hit him in the head, and he got his attention. And he told him that you can't be out here playing your phone without your earplugs on. And so they started getting into it. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, we're going to have a news flash going on. And 35,000 feet in the air, these dudes are getting on because somebody wouldn't put their earplugs in. But the understanding was that, we all share the same airwaves. And at that moment, he was creating a disturbance in the force. He thought he was just doing something for him, but it was affecting everybody else around him. And the central tenet of all wisdom teaching is that we are interconnected. But oftentimes we forget that connection. And as we witness the challenges of our day, whether there be environmental breakdowns, acute political polarization, income disparity, injustice, now is the time more than ever to reimagine and construct a different world. And the good news is that these truth principles are coming into their own to address the challenges that we are facing now. It's taken a while for the spiritual teachings to mature. In the beginning, it was always about, it was just getting its footing. The teachings were primarily about healing the body, healing our relationships, personal well-being, prosperity, visualizing to make things happen. And that will always be there. That'll always be good. But now it's time for a collective healing. To transcend and live out the common interconnection between us, we must move from me to we in our transformation. That's because that whatever is out picturing in our world is nothing more than a reflection of the group's collective consciousness and awareness. And as we change, as we grow, as we expand, as we identify with our true nature and being, we become leaders who create a world that works for everyone. Indeed, by recognizing and operating from our interconnectedness, we can be part of the collective change the world is hungering and thirsting for. Martin Luther King recognized that. So gift number 4, know our interconnectedness. And finally, gift number 5, and Paul referred to this in his meditation, love. Love those folks that we don't even like. And he quoted this note from Dr. King, and it bears repeating. I'm going to just repeat it. He said he wrote a note after someone asked him what he believed was the meaning of love. And in that handwritten note, he said, love is the greatest force in the universe. It is the heartbeat of the moral compass. He who loves is a participant in the being of God. Charles Philm, the co-founder of Unity, said that love is that energy that binds everything together. It is the foundation of it all. So King focused on the role of love as the key to building healthy communities and ways in which love can and should be at the center of our social interactions. For King, love was not a mushy or easily dismissed emotion, but a central kind of community and world that he envisioned. It's simple enough to say that, not necessarily easy to do. Because it begins by realizing it's often impossible to love humanity in general if we can only love in particular. It means far too often, we might want to espouse the love ethic and to say, I love humanity. I love people. But when it comes to loving the neighbor, comes to loving the person maybe next to us at a job, comes to loving that person who is in the 10 items of less line and has 35 items in their cart, and you counting there, you say, daddy girl, he got way more than 10 items in there. Or loving someone who's just different, sometimes in those moments, it becomes difficult. But in order to engender the love ethic and build the beloved community, we must use our imagination. Put ourselves in someone else's shoes. See ourselves from another perspective, another person's point of view, and see things from that different angle, in which widens our perspective and allows us to embrace another person. No matter how unusual or weird they may be, we all have our own idiosyncrasies. But when we begin to embrace that, give space for that, it helps the love ethic to be real and not theoretical. Now, that's not normal against the backdrop of the culture of the day, but the same was true during Jesus' time, you know. He was an extremist for this principle of love. He said to people of his day, turn the other cheek. And people were saying, I'm not ready for that. I need to find me another guru. Like other stuff, I like that other stuff he was saying, Jesus, you know, God is love. You're the light of the world. The kingdom of God is within you. I like that. But brother man, we're not masochists. We're not going to let somebody just slap us and abuse us, take advantage of us. But no, that's not what he meant. He meant when somebody gives you one form of energy, we do not give back the same form of energy right back. See, it takes strength not to do that. See, it doesn't take strength not to react to the nonsense, the hate, the abuse, or impoliteness. But it does take strength to exchange one form of energy for another, like he did with that person that came up and spit in his face. It only comes from understanding who we are as spiritual beings that use our soul force. So it takes strength to operate that soul force, that soul consciousness. But only then the transformation of ourselves and the parties we're involved with begin to take place. So the final gift for today that King left us was the power of love. And I believe that when we practice these gifts to the best of our ability, no one's good and perfect at any of this, we begin to break down the artificial barriers that sometimes we've created between people, between groups, between nations. To download the beloved community that Dr. King dreamed about, we begin to look at each other. We begin to see the beauty and we see the original blessings that Matthew Fox talked about. And we'll stop seeing the so-called differences and the so-called divisions, and we'll look at that wonderful light shining through that individual. I don't understand it, but there's a light there somewhere. So we want to do our part to expand the beloved community by taking one area of life where we can intensely practice the love ethic, one area where we can rebel against business as usual, one area of life where forgiveness becomes the order of the day, so our seemingly upside down world can be made right side up. We do this in our own environment, our own part of the universe, and then we watch it spread like wildfire because we are in tune with the way things really are spiritually. And underneath business as usual is an idea. Underneath business as usual is a spiritual plan of wholeness, of harmony, a God-ordained vision worthy to be expressed. Dr. King indeed was a great transformational leader and figure in contemporary history. As we continue to acknowledge his teachings and honor who he was, we say thank you for being you. Thank you for not missing your mission as we do our best to live up to the ideas and ideals that he embodied, that he gifted us. So in all way, we say, we stayed and woke. Peace and blessings to you. Well, next week I'll be back. And we're going to talk about don't look back. Don't look back, except there's a few exceptions that we do look back and hopefully move us forward in a positive way. So we'll be here, be square next week. If you want prayer immediately after the service, if you're going through a challenge, one of those setbacks or difficulties, or if you just want to have something you want to celebrate, you can pray about that. You don't have to wait until things get desperate in order to say, oh my God, I need to check with somebody to help me connect with God. You can pray with the chaplains in the courtyard. They're wearing the white stoles, so we thank them for their consciousness and what they bring to our community. For those who are online that would like to connect with Spiritual Life Center, you can fill out a welcome card. We'll let you know what's going on. But most importantly, I want to acknowledge anyone that's here for the very first time. Any first timers today? Can you raise your hand? Any first time? Keep your hand up nice and high. Thank you so much. We're going to hand out to you a thank you for your presence. Thank you for bringing your consciousness. There's a card you can fill out if you want to know about what's going on in the community, and if you want to wear the purple ribbon you can do that. You'll get a special greeting from Spiritual Life Center, and we appreciate your presence, and we're here to support you in any way on your path of growth, development, and unfoldment. At this time, those who are online who would like to support Spiritual Life Center with their gift or offering, you can do so by texting SLC Loved to 44321. That's SLC Loved to 44321. Or you can go to our website, slcworld.org, and click the Donate tab, and it'll give you other ways you can give, including sending a check by mail. But for those who are present today, would like to give or have already given electronically or by mail, know that you're in a flow of a principle that says whatever you give out, it does come back to you in ways you never imagined and from directions you never thought of. Well, that's the nature of the universe. It gives and it receives. And with that awareness, let's affirm our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
This song that we're going to close with today, In Christ There Is No East or West, it can be found in the African American hymnal written in the 1800s. And our vocalist Dahlia Kilson received an invitation from Unity Worldwide Ministries to record this song and submit it as to be included in a virtual MLK celebration concert that will be live streamed, not live streamed because it's pre-produced, but tomorrow at Pacific Standard 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And so if you don't make it to the MLK walk and you'd like to have an MLK experience, perhaps you could tune into that concert tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We put the link out in the newsletter, and also it's on the website on the events page. And we're going to do it for you right now. And I found a version of it that was written, or that was by Mavis Staples. She was very active during the civil rights movement. She adapted the lyrics a little bit, and then I adapted them a tiny bit more. And so here's our version. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
In Christ there is no east or west, no north or south, only one great love, inside and out, 2 hearts everywhere, in service we find, singing one melody, connecting humankind. Join hands and have faith, whatever your race may be. All children of the living God are surely kin to me. Now we meet both east and west. There is no black or white, only one great love that hatred cannot divide. Join hands and have faith, forgive your enemy. Surely we all are a part of one big family. Join hands, have faith, whatever your race may be. All children of the loving God are surely kin to me.
Christ knows no east or west. Of course, we know that Christ is that part of God within all of us, so it's everywhere present, but most importantly, right where we are. So we take this time to bless those who have blessed us with their gifts or offerings, whether in person or online, knowing that it's providing not only a gift for those who are part of this community, but those who are on their way, who may be going through their own crisis and end up being here to realize there's some greater good waiting to express in and as their life. So we're grateful for the support from everyone that comes, no matter what it may be. And we also bless those who have left their prayers in the prayer box throughout the week or today. We all have challenges in this thing called life from time to time, in which we have to no longer rely on our own understanding, our own wit, our own might, our own power. And we turn over to a presence and a power that is everywhere present, all-knowing, all-powerful, omni-active. And we rest in that presence, knowing that it has the answer to whatever seeming challenge or problem that we're going through. As that scriptural reference tells us, before they call, I've already answered you. For the Spirit of the living God has the answer even before we know what the prayer is, before the question is even asked. So we trust that process. We lean on that process. And that applies to not only our individual lives, but our communities and the world. There's a divine and perfect vision waiting to be expressed through and as us. And our task is simply to raise our vibration, to be one with the one, and watch seeming miracles take place and around us, through us, and as us, and our world. This is what we must do. Release any attachment that we have to our own understanding and realize there's a divine presence that understands all, and we are here to realize our oneness with that, and seeming things happen. Healings happen, upliftment happens, transformation happens. And we're grateful that we have this choice, and we make that choice each and every moment of our day. And we say so in the name and the nature of the Spirit of the living God that dwells within each and every one of us. It is done, and we are grateful. Amen. Let's take this time now to affirm together our prayer for protection and just embody these words and know they are the truth. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well. Let's sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we, let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me, let this be the moment now, let this be the moment with every step I take. Let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Oh, let it begin with me.
Peace and blessings. Have a great week. Hang around for some post-service music, and see some of y'all tomorrow morning.